Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today's video is going to dive deep into one of the most important political and economic developments in South Africa right now, and one that could shape the very future of our country's governance, public finances, and service delivery. We're talking about a high-stakes media briefing held in Sandton, Johannesburg, where ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula, flanked by representatives from 11 political parties, addressed the nation following a rare show of multi-party cooperation, the conditional passing of the national budget. But as with anything in politics, what lies beneath the surface is far more revealing than the headlines. Let's start with what actually happened. At this media briefing, Mbalula emphasized the need for what he called constructive talks, essentially, a more collaborative approach when it comes to passing legislation, particularly around South Africa's budget and fiscal policy. This wasn't just lip service. The ANC, long known for pushing through its agenda with its parliamentary majority, now finds itself in a different South Africa, one where power is more fragmented, trust in institutions is lower, and the consequences of poor governance are more visible than ever. Now, this budget was passed, yes, but the real headline is how it was passed and why that matters. 11 political parties came together to support it, but not because they fully agreed with it. Their support was conditional. Conditional on the promise of meaningful fiscal reform. That's a major red flag and a political warning shot aimed straight at the ANC's dominance. It's as if these parties were saying, "We'll give you this round, but the next one, you'd better come to the table with real changes." And what kind of reforms are we talking about? Well, that's the billion-rand question. South Africa's fiscal framework, that is, the set of policies and rules that govern how the government collects money, borrows money, and spends money, is under enormous strain. Public debt is rising fast. According to Treasury estimates, debt could surpass 75% of GDP within the next few years if serious steps aren't taken. We're talking about interest payments that consume more than 1 billion per day. That's money that could be going to schools, hospitals, and basic services. Instead, it's going to pay off old debts. Mbalula's comments signal that the ANC knows it can't keep doing business as usual. But this isn't just about economic numbers, it's about political survival. Let's not forget, in the 2024 general elections, the ANC lost its comfortable majority. The electorate sent a loud and clear message: shape up or ship out. The party had to rely on smaller parties just to get basic legislation passed, and this budget deal shows exactly how delicate their position is. But this also presents an opportunity for genuine cooperation across party lines. The presence of these 11 parties, all with different ideologies, constituencies, and visions for South Africa, points to a potential new era of coalition-style governance. And while that can be messy, it can also lead to better policymaking. Why? Because decisions have to be debated, scrutinized, and justified. No more rubber-stamping laws that haven't been properly thought through. Still, it's important to keep expectations realistic. The idea of fiscal reform can mean very different things depending on who you ask. For some, it means slashing government spending, reducing public sector wages, cutting down on wasteful expenditure, and maybe even privatizing state-owned entities. For others, reform means more progressive taxation, stronger social protections, and tighter controls on procurement to stop corruption. The challenge will be finding a balance between these competing visions, and doing it fast. Because time is not on our side. South Africa is facing multiple crises, not just economic. Load shedding continues to disrupt daily life and business operations. The education system is battling with overcrowded classrooms and poor infrastructure. Healthcare is under pressure, especially in rural areas. And violent crime continues to haunt communities, while confidence in the police and justice system erodes further. All of these issues are tied to the budget. Every rand that's misused is a rand that could have gone to solving one of these problems. So when Mbalula calls for constructive talks, he's acknowledging that the political status quo, where the ruling party pushes through budgets without compromise, has failed. But is this a genuine shift? Or is it just strategic messaging? That's where things get complicated. Mbalula is a political veteran. He understands the optics of looking collaborative without necessarily giving up control. And with the ANC looking toward the 2026 local government elections, it's in their interest to appear more open, more democratic, and more in touch with the country's frustrations. At the same time, there are deep internal divisions within the ANC itself, between those who want radical transformation and those who favor fiscal discipline. Even if Mbalula wants reform, will his party follow through? We've seen before how party infighting and factionalism can derail even the most sensible policy plans. And let's be clear, if these talks collapse, if the ANC backtracks on reform, or if they try to steamroll the budget process again, it could trigger a full-blown political backlash. Smaller parties might walk away. The public might lose even more faith in the democratic process. And the markets? They'll punish South Africa with a weaker rand, higher borrowing costs, and even more economic instability. So what comes next? That depends on the government's willingness to put real reforms on the table. Reforms that address wasteful expenditure. That root out corruption, not just through talk, but through action. That make state-owned enterprises more efficient or accountable. That ensure provinces and municipalities are better supported and supervised. That create jobs, not just through public works programs, but by fostering a stable environment where businesses, big and small, can grow. This is a moment of reckoning, for the ANC, for Parliament, and for all of us. The good news. There seems to be some political will for change. The bad news. South Africa's past is filled with promises of reform that never materialized. Will this time be different? That's the big question we'll be following in the weeks and months ahead. And as always, we'll be right here, bringing you the latest updates, the political fallout, and the analysis you need to understand what's really going on in the halls of power. If you found this video insightful, please take a moment to like it, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below. Do you believe this push for fiscal reform is genuine? Or is it just another episode in the ANC's long-running political drama? We want to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.